speeches from the brothers. Warning, the video might be shaky.
Any of the fruit on the table, it's sprayed with pesticides.
All right.
We're not in Canada anymore.
Exactly. It's all natural.
Okay, buonasera a tutti.
Hey!
Buonasera. For the Munja Cakes in attendance, good evening. I'm Nick. This is my brother Vin, Dr. Vincenzo, the guy singing downstairs with the strings. We have the great honor of not just being Anthony's brothers, but we're his best men.
And thank you, Anthony, for finally admitting that we are the best. I thought that day would never come. And so, my mom always told us, if you have nothing nice to say about one another, don't say anything at all. On that note, congratulations, Anthony and Julia. We love you both. Have a great night, everybody.
Okay, we're going to keep this speech how we like our espresso, long and dark. Now, we would welcome you to the wedding of the decade, but I got married last year.
And we would welcome you to the wedding of the year, but I got married back in May.
So we would officially like to welcome you to the wedding of the month. But before we go any further, we owe a big thank you to the Sopranos. If you were to ask Julia why we're celebrating in Italy, it's not because of family roots or some deep connection to the hometown. It's because she watched the Sopranos way too many times.
And if you were to ask Anne why we're celebrating in Italy, it's because of the pizza, the pasta, the gelato. I mean, Madonna! Look at those tetes.
Okay. Now before I get too sentimental, I want to take you all back to a time when we were kids. Growing up, we did what most brothers do. We fight. And we fight all the time. Back when I was about 10 years old, Anthony was about 11, we were in the back seat in my parents' car, going for a little ride, and me and Anth got into a heated argument. Our dad warned us numerous times. He said, boys, if you don't stop fighting, I'm going to kick you out, and you're going to take the bus home. We ignored him, didn't take him serious at all. We kept fighting. And it was just his legs touching my leg. That's what we were fighting about. Warned us again, boys, if you don't stop fighting, I'm going to kick you out, you're going to take the bus home. We ignored him. He pulls over, he says, get out. Here's $1 each. That's how much a bus was at the time. It was $1 each. Said, take this bus all the way to the end. I'm going to pick you up. And that's what we did. So we hopped out. And most kids would have panicked at that moment, but not Anth. No fear, no hesitation. He just led the way with a grin on his face straight to the back of the bus. And I followed him. What started out as us being kicked out of the car for fighting ended up being one of the best memories we have together. We laughed, we joked, had a blast on the bus ride home. And at one point, my mom got in the car, she came looking, hunting down the bus that we were in. She pulled up beside us and she's gesturing us to get off. And we just sat there and we smiled, we waved back at her, and we continued until the last stop. That's just how it's been with him. Even when life throws a curveball, he finds a way to lead with confidence and make the most out of any situation.
And after they got kicked out of the car, there I was, left all alone, with no one beside me, no one to talk to, and I gotta say, it really wasn't the same without them. It was 10 times better. I had the whole back seat to myself, put my legs up, I was in freedom, I was in heaven. It was amazing. But you know what I gotta say? Writing this speech, looking back at this moment, it really weren't the moments when we were apart that mattered. What really mattered were definitely the times when we were all together. And so I wrote a poem, and it's called Anth, It Wouldn't Be the Same Without You. When we were young, the three of us would play hockey in the basement where we would shoot so true, and it wouldn't have been the same without you. And as we grew, 3 became 4, became 5, became 6, and hold on. We formed bonds that time can't nix. A family built on love, strong as bricks, and those bonds wouldn't have been the same without you. And now we sit here on your big day with your bride by your side, celebrating your love for one another. I don't think anyone can deny that this moment would not be the same without you. And as our family gets bigger and 6 becomes 7, 8, 9, and 10, our children will laugh and play together and become best friends. And those moments will not be the same without you.
I also have the same poem. Thank you everyone for traveling so far and for attending such an amazing day. My name is Jonathan, and I'm Julie's brother. And let me emphasize man of honor. I've been hearing a lot of maid of honor today, and I want to clear the air there. When Julie and Anthony asked me to be part of their special wedding, or part of their special day, I had other expectations. I thought I was going to be part of the groom's side or walking her down the aisle, but I guess there's no other girl better for the job than me, so I'm happy to take on this role as both your brother and your friend. Looking back, Julia always seemed to be destined to end up with one of my friends. I say this because growing up, my friends would always greet me with, "Is your sister coming around?" Or, yeah, that's a great story, Jonathan. Where's your sister?" To which I would reply, "You have no chance with her. She thinks we're losers, and more importantly, she thinks you're ugly." But boy, was I wrong about Anthony. The summer that they began seeing each other, Anthony would appear at my house unexpectedly in his red Honda Civic, and I would always find Julia creeping out of the car to run back inside. And I knew from that moment trouble was knocking on my front door. When Anthony asked my blessing to start seeing Julia, I said yes with the condition that they both had to make it last. And 8 years later, I'm happy to say that you both kept your word. Like Anthony, and everyone before Julia, Julia was the center of attention, and for good reason. She is beautiful, kind, compassionate, and very talkative. I always tell new people to schedule 1 hour out of the day for Julia to tell a story. For Julia, there is never just a beginning, middle, and end. Sometimes she talks so much, you have to remind her to stick back to the original storyline. Apart from that, her other amazing qualities include her stubbornness, the fact that she only has 2 volumes, off and loud, and she does this thing where she slaps her arm when she finds something funny.
Slap your arm.
She's doing it under the table.
Julia has a larger-than-life personality, and more importantly, a grand sense of purpose for her family and friends. She is ambitious and direct. What you see is what you get. That is a trait that I most admire of her, as she has become a true protector to her loved ones, especially me. To Anthony and his family, I'm assigning you some work to do, not just for today, but for the rest of your lives. You are inheriting a beautiful, strong, and fiercely loyal woman, someone who will stand by you during your struggles, but also praise and celebrate your victories. It is your responsibility, both as a husband and a family, to nurture her ambitions, her kindness, and her empathy. To my new brother Anthony, or as we like to call each other, Mr. Master Douglas Beefy. I can't get into that. I first met Anthony through our good friend Nick, who's sitting here today. And my first impression of Anthony was, this guy's a complete whack job. Even now, there are times where I think he's reached his max, he can't go any further than this. How you doing?
Let's go, there's one more.
How you doing?
How you doing?
But as always, he manages to go to the next level, the next extreme. Anthony doesn't understand the meaning of being careful. Whether it's jumping off an 80-foot cliff, backflipping off a fence with a sprained ankle in winter, or crashing his newly won dirt bike while shirtless, almost losing both of his puppy nipples, he'll always take on the next step of the extreme. And if you thought Julia was a talker, Anthony will talk to anybody. Whether it's the weird guy at the party, the person waiting in line for coffee, or even a taxi driver. One night, I'll tell the story. One night, Anthony, John, our friend John, and myself ended up coming home from a bar. Anthony got to talking with the taxi driver, and convinced him that we were going to tip him by giving him a kiss on the cheek. I'm not going to say who did it, but the guy got his tip. Like Julia, Anthony, you have a larger-than-life personality, sometimes so large you can't be contained. However, you bring excitement to our lives, and in many ways have helped my family and I heal with your laughter and humor. Anthony's first introduction to my extended family was at a pool party at my aunt and uncle Vince's house that ended with Anthony blowing a fart before diving into the pool, only for him to surface with everyone in utter shock, especially my nana. Or there was a time when we were headed to family dinner, Anthony looking extra comfortable in the backseat of the car, and when my mom asked, "Where's Nana's panettone cake?" we were looking everywhere, high and low, only for Anthony to get off the seat and realize he was sitting on the cake the whole time with the extra cushion. Julia has mentioned many times, however, how our dad would have liked having you around and enjoyed your company. And it's very true. Your charm and charisma are infectious, and your love of sports, cars, and surprisingly collecting would have won him over. But your love and adoration for Julia would have cemented it. I know he would be saying the same things and praising you in the same way that I am. I just think he would be tormenting you because you're an Eagles fan and not a Dolphins fan. And I've watched you become a well-rounded, hard-working, and loving partner to Julia. I'm grateful for your friendship and proud to call you my brother and brother-in-law. I look forward to making more memories with you as an official member of my family. To Julia and to the rest of our family, we also have a duty to nurture Anthony's love, his humor, and what I think is most important, his free spirit. Although, Julia, you and I have walked through life's milestones together, moving forward, you and Anthony have pledged to meet together in life side by side. And I know that you both will do it with passion, love, and grace. I love you both very much, and I just want to say congratulations to you both again. Cheers.